It's time to get outdoors on WHTL. Are you ready? From the deepest woods, the open waters, from the rocky trails to the snowy tracks, if it happens outdoors, we're talking about it. From fishing, the hiking, the hunting, the trail riding, we cover it all. Brought to you by Petrick Service Station, Holden Sporting Goods, Black River Express, Moe Hardware, the Olivas Drum Rail Riders, the Elk Rod and Gun Club, Triplo County Economic Development and Tourism, and the Associated Conservation Clubs of Triplo County. So tighten up your boots, check your hook, and fire up the engine. The adventure starts now.
It sure does, and we've got an adventure in store for you today. Today, my guest is Peter Jonas. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
I am great, Brian, and always good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. I tried to get you in a few weeks ago, but, you had other things to do, like being in Greece, I guess.
And I'm sorry to report, even though I was looking for it pretty much constantly, very little sport fishing in Greece.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had a few conversations with local people, and they said actually the Mediterranean is fished so hard commercially that they don't tend to do a lot of sport fishing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He said he fishes a little bit on shore for bonito, which is a saltwater species that, frankly, I don't know too much about. I've heard of, but that was the saddest part of the trip. Everything else was fabulous, but I always like to check in on whatever the local scene is.
Yeah. So do they not do the fishing around the area because of conservation efforts, or they just can't catch anything?
Well, basically, I'm going on one source.
Yeah.
That an entire country, but basically he said that is just very difficult to catch things because it's over harvested commercially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's no fun. I mean, it's fun to get out there and not catch something once in a while, but every time you do it, not so much fun.
Get a little fast. He also said, interestingly enough, that this did intrigue me, they don't have a whole lot of, the Greeks aren't really interested in freshwater fishing, even though they do have some lakes and rivers. And that made me think, wonder what's in there. If they're not paying any attention to that, what might be going on in there? But it wasn't the kind of trip where I could just do a lot of freelance exploring of what the freshwater lakes might hold.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that just means time to go back another time.
I guess that there's as good a reason as any. Yeah.
Yeah. But where there is plenty of fishing is around here in Wisconsin and Canada, all of that. Should we get into some of the fly fishing that we want to talk about?
You bet. Today I thought, given the 3.5 inches of rain we had, which was great, we all need it. I've been wading around in a lot of muck, so I kind of welcome a good flush to some of the streams I fish, because getting harder to pull my boots out of some of the spots that I like to go. But I did get to thinking, I trout fish throughout the summer. Because I'm a little bit of a nut. But I could appreciate that, some folks may not enjoy wading through grass that's over their head, or poison parsnip, or, deer ticks and what have you, and may be anxious to wait till the fall till they go to a trout stream again. But there are lots of great non-trout alternatives that we can take advantage of in the heat of summer in the Midwest, and I thought maybe we'd spend a little time talking about that.
Yeah, that's great, because, there is plenty of rivers, plenty of lakes, plenty of fish to be fished around the area in Wisconsin and beyond. So what's some of your favorite things to fish?
Well, a lot of fly anglers love smallmouth bass because they tend to run a little bit shallower most of the time. They're a great topwater fish if you can coax them up that way, and they just lend themselves very much to fly fishing. And we live in a time when there is tremendous smallmouth bass fishing. In fact, next week I'm going with my sons up to Canada on a wilderness canoe trip in the Quetico. Super excited about that. I'm getting to the point in life where I'm not sure how many more trips involving portaging and sleeping on the ground I have in me, but I love it.
Yeah.
It is such a fabulous wilderness area. Where we're going, there's some pictographs from the First Nations people that they have preserved on the rock walls, if you know where to find them. And fishing is first rate, both fly fishing, and we do take spinning rods. And one of the things I love most of all, this time of year before summer gets too far along, you can often pick up lake trout paddle trolling.
Okay.
So you throw out a very deep diving plug. I've got some of these Rapala tail dancers that are supposed to go 30 feet down. You let out all the line you can let out. You stick the fly rod underneath your legs and you just paddle your canoe. And we've been quite fortunate picking up lake trout that way, which are a fabulous dinner. I can tell you, over a campfire, there's almost nothing better. And we'll use the spinning rods to try our hands at a few walleye out there too. So very much looking forward to it. And I was thinking a lot of fly anglers do tend to be a little more, for whatever reason, it seems to go along with non-motorized fishing. Not always, but for the most part. Although a reminder to all of our listeners that if you own a boat, of course, I'm always open to invitations to, go fishing with people that have motorboats. But fly anglers do tend to a little bit gravitate toward the non-motorized aspect of things. And one of the things that is really kind of taken off in the Midwest in the past, I'd say 15 years or so, is the advent of floating Western-style drift boats in our kind of large to medium-sized rivers, which you never used to see years ago, but is becoming relatively common these days. I'm curious, do you have an idea in your mind what you're thinking of with a Western-style drift boat?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of one of those big platforms that kind of have the barrels or whatever. Or is that even close? Or?
No. This is a boat. It's generally for 3 people. So you have a person on the oars in the middle, and you have a casting platform fore and aft, front and back, right? It's a boat with a lot of rocker. So one of these things can just turn on a dime, which is one of the big features of it. And it's shaped almost like, I don't know if you remember the boat from the old Popeye, and I'm using my hands on radio, people, which is not helping things. I don't know if you remember the little tugboats from Popeye. It's sort of shaped like one of those things, basically.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about now.
And they use them out west for fishing on, the classic trout streams all the time. And they have been brought here to the Midwest by people that started thinking, hey, we could do that. And they're a way, so you start out from, a boat landing in an upstream part of a river, and then you float down to a full boat landing below, basically. And it's just a fabulous way to fish. And we have some great streams for both smallmouth bass and muskies. So the Black River, people float for muskies. Right around Black River Falls and that sort of area, and you can catch some smallmouth there as well. We have the Chippewa and the Eau Claire a little bit north to us, which are great rivers to float. If you want to go a little farther north, the Flambeau, fabulous river. And then even a bit farther north, northeast, the Menominee, which forms the border between Wisconsin and the UP, and then heads down. The Menominee is just a premier smallmouth river, so lots of good opportunities.
Wow. And we were talking before we went on air, too. There's people out there that are actually fishing for carp, too?
Yeah, believe it or not. They call them the poor man's bonefish. Bonefish are a species that fly fishers spend thousands of dollars to go on a trip to Florida or to a Caribbean island or something like that. Actually, a lot of the techniques that work for bonefish work for carp.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because a carp is kind of a bottom feeder, isn't it? When you think of a carp, that's what you think of? Or
You do, although they will come to the surface. For example, famously, this time of year is the season of the mulberry hatch for carp. So if you find a mulberry tree that is overhanging a lake or a river where carp are at, as the berries fall down into the water, carp will actually take them on the surface. So if you fish a dry fly that looks like a mulberry, you can catch carp on the surface, which is kind of crazy.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I know. Weird stuff happens in nature.
Yeah.
Other things, people fish carp with, small woolly buggers, which are just kind of a general fly that imitate almost anything. One of the things that might be surprising, I've only fished them a few times. I have some friends that are very committed to this whole enterprise. I haven't quite gone that lunatic yet, although I'm on my way, Brian. I'm on my way. Carp are extremely wary. Because they are such big fish and often living in shallow water. They are very spooky, very easy to put down. So it actually, you would think, any fool could go out and catch a carp. It is much harder than it looks because they're in that shallow water. They're very sensitive to movement. A fly line going over them the wrong way, they are scattering. So very interesting quarry on a fly rod.
Something I never would have thought about, fly fishing. You don't think about carp that often when you talk about fly fishing.
I'll tell you a funny story. A friend of mine, this was during the cicada hatch a couple of years ago, the big cicada hatch. I'm a little bitter he didn't tell me about this trip, but he went with another friend of his. The cicadas were mostly south of us.
Yeah.
Well, they hooked up with a guide on the Rock River that runs through, I think, Janesville or somewhere like this. And it was in the height of the cicada hatch. And they went out there with cicada flies, and they caught both carp and channel catfish, no less.
Wow.
On the surface. They were catching channel catfish on dry flies.
Wow.
Imitating, and we're talking 20 pounders.
Yeah.
He said it was,
oh man, that had to have been fun.
Oh my gosh. This fellow's been all over the world. He's been everywhere. He said it was probably the greatest day of fishing in his life.
I bet.
Just a crazy scene. So
no wonder you're a little bitter that he didn't invite you along.
I know. Well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, next time he better be picking up that phone.
but he and I are actually talking about a mulberry trip for, and I don't know why. I don't know what the circumstances are, but he's talking about the Sugar River near Madison, I guess, is a place to go. And, I think I am up for it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Carpe carp. Seize the carp.
Seize the carp. Yeah. You should make shirts with that.
That's what I say.
Oh, that is so much fun. Well, you have anything else you want to cover today before we let you go down the road? Or?
Well, just a couple things.
Yeah, let's do it. We
got a couple upcoming events that I hope that people will think about. For one thing, and this is a cause, I've mentioned it before, it's near and dear to my heart. There's a movement I'm involved with called Real Recovery.
Yeah.
And Real Recovery involves a fly fishing retreat for men with cancer who are suffering with cancer. And it really has two parts to it. One is a small group part that we call Courageous Conversations, which is an absolutely powerful experience for men. In my experience, I have the privilege of being a small group facilitator for the group for the movement. There are so many men that maybe have never talked to anyone except their spouse about their health situation or their side effects. And some men don't really even tell their spouse a whole lot.
Yeah.
And for them to get in a situation where they are surrounded by people who are going through similar circumstances, my goodness, it is just a life-changing experience for them. And then we combine that with the opportunity to take them fishing. And each man will have a mentor or a guide that we call a fishing buddy that'll give them instruction and encouragement, and so they get grounded in an outdoor experience, and something I think that brings us close to some of our more primal instincts that I think is really healthy, and there's something magical about the combination of those two.
Yeah.
You know, that I think if you just said, yeah, we're going to get 12 guys in a circle and we're going to talk about our cancer, you're not going to get a lot of volunteers for that, you know.
Especially with guys. You
Yeah.
know. I know from just having my own health problems, it's nothing like cancer, but, you know, when you have your spouse, you talk to them a little bit about things, but you hold a lot back.
You do.
Because you don't want to, you know, because they're already suffering because you're suffering. So it's good to have those, and like you said, getting out and fishing and shooting the BS, like we like to say, is really where guys open up, I think.
Yeah. The combination of the fishing and the small group experience, there is something positively magical about this. So, if anyone who is listening to this knows a man who is suffering from cancer and might be open to an experience like this, we're having our Midwest Real Recovery Retreat, September 9 through 11. That's going to take place in River Falls, Wisconsin. Okay. This happens, there is no cost for the participant.
Okay.
Real Recovery covers the hotel, the meals, the fishing. We stay at, I think it's the Marriott in River Falls, if I remember correctly. It's the one right downtown. Very nice accommodations. Great, you know, we'll feed you till you don't want to be fed anymore. And we'll just try to provide a powerful experience. We can accommodate men. You know, men really vary in their ability to do things physically. You got some fellas that can climb up and down anything, and we'll try and find a place like that for you. We have some fellas that really can barely manage on their feet, and we'll have a few of these drift boat experiences for men that are kind of and everything in between. So I've gone as a participant myself because I'm a cancer survivor, and I'm here to say it is just a life-giving experience. It is something really special. So if you know a man with cancer, really encourage you. And you can find more information on the website, realrecovery.org. Just one word, realrecovery.org is a great way. Or, you know, if people know how to get a hold of me, they can do it that way as well.
And Real Recovery is spelled like a fishing reel, REEL.
Correct.
So realrecovery.org?
Yep, sure is.
All right.
And then the second thing I want to lift up is that beaver management, of course, has been a very debated issue amongst trout anglers, and how beavers both positively and sometimes negatively affect watersheds and so forth. And I am very excited that we have a tremendous scholar, Emily Fairfax, who is she works out of the University of Minnesota, and she is a real expert on beaver interactions in watersheds. And she is going to be at our Trout Unlimited meeting in Eau Claire Thursday, October 15th, at the Brewing Project, 7 p.m. Brewing Project is a great place to go to regardless, but with this program, it should be fabulous. I'm going to be promoting it amongst other outdoor organizations because a lot of people have interest in how beavers affect the ecosystem. Emily is so sought after as a speaker and as a consultant. She was the consultant for a Pixar film, which is just has come to streaming, called Hoppers.
Oh, yeah.
Which features some beavers as some of the characters. And if you'll notice the beavers in the animated film, I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen this part in previews. The beavers, when they sit down, they all sit on their tails. And that's, even though it looks funny, that's because of Emily, because that's actually how beavers sit down when they sit down. And she was like having conversations with the animators about like how to color their noses.
Yeah.
That's like how, which hats off to Pixar for trying to, take seriously some.
They've probably done too many cow movies with boy cows with udders. That's probably why. I've seen it too many times.
Well, there you go. Maybe an old dog can learn new tricks. But hats off to Pixar for their interest in scientific accuracy and still making a very fun movie and a movie that a whole family can enjoy. So Emily is. She's been featured on PBS in some documentaries about beavers and watersheds, so we are super looking forward to having her among us on October 15th. So mark your calendar.
And can they find out more information by visiting your website?
You bet.
All right.
Because actually, that's been a big project of mine, is trying to get our website into the present, and I'd say we are about 90% there.
Right.
So if you go to WCWTU.org, that's Wisconsin Clearwater's Trout Unlimited, WCWTU.org, and if you go to upcoming events, you can see more information about Emily.
That is great. Well, that's about what we got for time today. Anything else quick you want to cover before I let you go?
Just super appreciative. Always like being on the air. One of the reasons I scheduled this, because I thought, well, I can go to WHTL and do a little fishing, and with 3.5 inches of rain, I don't think that's going to be happening.
Yeah, today is going to be a little sketchy.
But we are grateful for the rain. I mean, it is very important for the farmers, for the ecosystem, everything else. So I'm just going to have to be patient.
There you go. Well, Peter, thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to jump back into the hits right after this short break.
The WHTL Busch Light Summer Celebration Tour is rolling into Galesville for Summerfest. Join WHTL